He discovered a hidden truth, incredible revelation about his wife and daughter that changed everything. Tom Harrington's hands trembled as he flipped through the old, leather-bound journal he had unearthed from the attic. The rain drummed persistently against the roof of their modest home, a monotonous rhythm that felt at odds with the storm brewing in his heart. Each word danced like a ghost, revealing secrets about a woman he thought he knew deeply. Sarah had connections, wealth, privilege, expectations he had never considered. Beneath the surface of their seemingly idyllic life, a chasm of uncertainty opened wide. How had he missed this? How had a simple mechanic from Anderson ended up wed to a woman with such an extravagant past? His mind raced, logging memories of their life together, picnic lunches, family movie nights, shared laughter over spilled drinks. Was it all a mirage? Looking at Sarah's warm smiles, had he been blind to the truth, her truth? Tom's insides twisted into knots. The stability they held onto felt fragile now, an intricate facade that could shatter at any moment. The image of their daughter Lily popped into his mind, her bright eyes sparkling with dreams. Could he let ambiguity taint that innocence? Doubt hung over him like the rain outside. Should he confront Sarah? Expose her hidden history that clawed at him? Or would it be better to bury the knowledge, embracing the comfortable life they had built without unveiling the uncomfortable truths that came to light? Each choice tugged at his conscience, amplifying his inner turmoil. Living with a half-truth felt like lying, and he prided himself on honesty. Yet, what if revealing her past unraveled everything they had? How could he risk losing Lily's laughter, Sarah's touch? Time slipped by, and evening settled in, thick with tension. Around the dinner table, laughter from Sarah and Lily grew louder, bubbling over with warmth, while Tom sat caught in a storm, his unease growing like weeds in neglected soil. The air thickened with unexpressed words, and he felt both an outsider and a gatekeeper of a secret that could change everything. What lay behind Sarah's laughter? Were her memories laced with regret or a longing for a reality that included privilege and expectation? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Tom's thoughts spiraled as he glanced up to see Sarah, radiant and untroubled. But as an old acquaintance from her past appeared at their doorstep, the air grew tense. The man's presence cracked the illusion, revealing deep fissures in the carefully constructed life they lived. Sarah's smile faltered, her eyes glassy with recognition and panic. Hints of their shared history slipped through the stranger's lips like blades, chipping away at the ordinary dinner atmosphere. Tom could hardly breathe as Sarah's expression metamorphosed into one of dread. Was their family life about to be punctured by revelations he wasn't prepared for? In that moment, he wrestled not only with conflicting emotions but with the escalating anxiety that threatened to consume him whole. Did he truly understand what family meant, or would chasing after a phantom of ambition decimate the bonds that held them together? Every heartbeat echoed the fragility of their existence, leaving him standing on the precipice of a life-altering decision, one that could upend the very fabric of love, loyalty, and identity. Tom felt the space constrict around him, the weight of impending truths pressing heavy on his chest as uncertainty deepened, tightening its grip on him. The door creaked. Ominously, prophesying a storm no one could predict, one that would change their lives forever. The tension in the air crackled like the charged atmosphere before a summer storm. Tom stood frozen, heart racing, as the stranger filled the doorway, an unwelcome figure from a past he knew too little about. The man's well-tailored jacket clung to his form, a stark contrast to Tom's worn jeans and grease-stained t-shirt. It was evident that this visitor belonged to a world entirely removed from Tom's humble existence. Sarah's flustered demeanor sent alarm bells ringing in Tom's mind. He could see the flicker of fear in her eyes, an emotion he had never expected to encounter when she looked at him. They had shared countless beautiful moments together, yet this was an entirely different atmosphere. He felt the familiar warmth of their home transform into a cold chamber of uncertainty. Sam, Sarah choked out, as if the name itself had a physical weight, and Tom's breath hitched. Who was he? How deep were his ties to Sarah's concealed past? Tom's mind reeled with questions, yet all he could manage was a strained smile, hoping to mask the urgency building within him. Sarah, it's been a while, the man said, his voice smooth and confident. You didn't tell me you had a family now. His eyes rolled over Tom with a critical gaze, sizing him up as if he were a mere pawn in a game he didn't even understand. Tom clenched his fists, the helplessness of the situation gnawing at him. He felt overshadowed, standing beside a woman who had been a stranger all along. Their life together, the dreams of a simple, happy family, they felt like borrowed time. Would confronting Sarah about her past change everything? Or would it tear apart the fragile threads of their lives, exposing truths that could lead to irrevocable heartbreak? As seconds morphed into agonizing moments, Tom forced his voice through the knot in his throat. What do you want with Sarah? The question stumbled out, laden with an equal mix of defiance and fear. The past is a tricky thing, my friend. Sarah and I have some unfinished business, Sam replied cryptically, his smirk infuriating. Tom's instincts surged, pushing him to defend Sarah, but the doubt gnawed at him deeper. How could he protect her from a part of her life he hadn't even known existed? In that potent moment, he felt lost, tethered to a woman whose reality was now shrouded in shadows. Sarah, however, was regaining her composure, the brief flicker of panic replaced by a determined glimmer in her eyes. Sam, we can't do this here. Leave now. Her voice was calm, but Tom couldn't miss the quiver of vulnerability he yearned to understand. In that moment of conflict, something within Tom ignited a desire to uncover the truth not merely for himself but for Lily. Their daughter deserved to know who her mother truly was. But how to approach Sarah? Should he demand answers now, in front of this mysterious figure, or wait until they could find a moment of privacy? The uncertainty began to coil within him, festering into a resolve. Tom realized he would have to confront more than just Sarah's past. He needed to understand who he was in the context of her story. Would he rise as her protector, or would he shy away from the uncomfortable truths that lay ahead? As Sam stepped back, his gaze lingering on Sarah with an unsettling familiarity, Tom's heart raced with determination. The time had come to face his fears, not just for himself, but for the family he vowed to protect. With his mind made up, Tom glanced at Sarah. Their eyes locked, the storm of emotions twisting around them. He sensed she understood the gravity of the moment too. It was now or never. Let us talk, he said, resolve threading through his words. But as the door clicked shut behind Sam, a chilling uncertainty settled in. Could uncovering Sarah's past ultimately redefine their future, or would it just unearth more layers of despair? In the echo of silence, he knew one thing: there was no turning back now. Tom's breath caught in his throat as the silence enveloped him. With Sam's presence fading into the back of his mind, the walls of their home seemed to close in. He stared at Sarah, whose face was a mix of resolve and battle-worn vulnerability. The warmth they had shared now felt like an illusion shattered by this unexpected revelation. Why didn't you tell me? Tom finally managed, his voice steady despite the chaos swirling within. Confrontation was inevitable, the questions bubbled beneath the surface, eager for release. This moment was critical not just for understanding Sarah but for his own sense of self in the midst of the turmoil. Sarah flinched but held Tom's gaze. I wanted to protect you. Protect us. Her voice was firm, yet the underlying tremor betrayed the weight of her past. It's not that simple. Tom felt a surge of frustration. Not simple. This feels like a different reality, Sarah. You kept a part of yourself from me, from Lily. What kind of mother hides something like that? Her eyes softened, and for an ephemeral moment, Tom saw the anguish buried within. It was a life I left behind. A dangerous one. I thought I could build a different life. I never wanted it to interfere with what we had. But it has. He showed up like a ghost. What did he want? The urgency in Tom's voice mirrored the churning doubts in his heart. He wanted answers, not just for himself, but for the fragile world they had built together. I don't know, Sarah admitted, her fingers trembling as they fidgeted with the hem of her shirt. Sam represents everything I left behind, the consequences of choices I made. I thought I could escape it all. I was wrong. Tom's mind raced. It wasn't just about Sam now, it was about the secrets that intertwined their lives. Doubt seeped through his resolve, testing the integrity of their relationship. Was love enough to heal the cracks that hidden truths had formed? Could he still see Sarah as the woman he adored if her past threatened their present? Aren't you scared? He pressed, his voice low and intense. He's a part of the past you thought you could erase. What if he wants something from us? Yes, I'm scared. She responded, her voice rising. But I can't change what happened. I can only face it. The strength in her words ignited something within Tom, an awareness that this confrontation was not merely about finding out who Sam was, but about rediscovering their own foundations as a couple and a family. As the tension simmered, Tom felt a flicker of hope, a clarity forming in the dim light of uncertainty. Then we face him together. Whatever it takes, we do this as a family. He could feel the gravity of his declaration, a commitment to not just understand Sarah's past but also to stand beside her against it. This was an opportunity for growth, a chance for their family to emerge resilient. Sarah's expression softened, the lines of worry in her forehead easing as she nodded. Together, she echoed, and for the first time, he saw the spark of determination in her eyes. The intensity of their conversation hung in the air, a moment filled with both dread and anticipation. They would have to confront Sam and the choices that had led Sarah to this very moment. But beneath the surface, Tom felt the surge of a hidden truth stirring, the realization that through this, he could uncover strengths within himself he never knew existed. As they moved toward the front door, each step resonated with an urgency that both excited and terrified him. He didn't just want answers, he wanted clarity. He needed to strip away the layers of doubt that had cloaked them in darkness. Moments later, standing before the closed door, Tom hesitated. In this confrontation lay not only the potential to understand Sarah's past but also to redefine their future. Could they withstand this storm together? With a final determined breath, he reached for the doorknob. But his heart raced anew as he considered one last, audacious thought: what if confronting Sam revealed even deeper secrets? Secrets that could flip their lives upside down. Now, as the threshold beckoned, Tom steeled himself to confront not just Sam but everything that came with his existence. The truth waited on the other side, dark and alluring. What awaited him could shatter their fragile world, or forge it anew. The moment Tom's fingertips grazed the cool metal of the doorknob, a chilling intensity coursed through him. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown, ticking away at the remnants of his resolve. What lay ahead could expose cavities of deceit or perhaps illuminate the righteousness of love he'd believed in for so long. As he turned the knob and stepped outside, a gust of wind swirled around him. It hinted at the unpredictable nature of confrontation, a reality where pasts were not easily dismissed and where shadows of choices lingered long after they'd been made. He glanced back at Sarah, who stood behind him, her expression a mix of fear and determination. In that fleeting moment, he recognized their shared vulnerability, a mutual commitment to navigate the shadows of each other's lives together. "Let us find him," Sarah whispered, her voice steadying him. Tom nodded, though every sinew in his body begged him to retreat. Facing Sam felt like stepping into a darker part of himself, a place he had never ventured but now had no choice but to explore. They walked through the dimly lit street toward the cafe where Sam was supposed to be. Each step pulled at Tom's past insecurities, memories of inadequacy flooding his mind. What if Sam was everything Tom wasn't? He charismatic, charming, everything that made so many hearts flutter. Would Sarah see him as a potential savior instead of the flawed man who stood beside her now? Tom found himself contemplating how this encounter could shift the dynamics of their family. If Sam was everything Sarah once craved, would that erode the foundation of trust they'd built? Or would it lay bare the strength of their current bond, illuminating the love that endured despite secrets? Arriving at the cafe, they paused at the entrance. The air buzzed with uncertain energy, forcing Tom to confront not only Sam but also his essence, stripped bare to its core. "We can do this," he told Sarah. "Whatever happens, remember we're together. That's all that matters." Taking a deep breath, they stepped inside. The chatter and clinking of cutlery enveloped them, contrasting sharply with the storm brewing in Tom's mind. Scanning the crowd, his heart raced as he spotted Sam sitting at the far corner, a casual ease dominating his presence. From across the room, Sam looked up, eyes meeting Tom's, a silent acknowledgement of the chaos unspooling in the air between them. Tom's gut clenched, every instinct whispering for caution. He was acutely aware of how much was riding on this confrontation: his self-esteem, his marriage. Everything felt precariously balanced on the edge of a knife. But in a moment of resolve, he chose to pull strength from the love Sarah had shown him, an anchor amidst the brewing storm. "Let us go," he urged Sarah softly, who nodded and inhaled deeply, mirroring his newfound resolve. Together, they moved forward through the sea of tables, each step heavier than the last, the weight of the impending confrontation drawing near. As they approached Sam's table, Tom's mind raced through possible scenarios. What would he say? How should he position himself in this confrontation? Nothing felt predetermined, an immensity loomed before him. "Sam," he said, the name feeling foreign but necessary, "we need to talk." The atmosphere shifted, it was palpable. Tom could sense Sam's recognition, an acknowledgement of everything Sarah had hoped to leave behind staring him in the face. But what Sam said next sent shockwaves through Tom's reality. "You don't know the whole story, do you?" A chill swept through Tom, and he felt as if the ground beneath him was crumbling. The latent tension transformed into an urgent question: what hidden truths could Sam unravel? Would this confrontation lead to clarity and growth, or was it poised to unravel the very essence of the life they'd built? In that moment, Tom realized they weren't merely confronting Sam, they were unearthing the depths of themselves, and the answers could redefine everything. The cafe's ambient noise faded into a muffled backdrop as Sam leaned back in his chair, a smirk playing on his lips. Tom felt his pulse quicken, each thump echoing the stakes of the confrontation. He had hoped for clarity, but Sam's casual demeanor felt like a challenge, as if inviting Tom to dig deeper into a rabbit hole of uncertainty. "Do I know the whole story?" Tom echoed, disbelief etched into every syllable. He fought to cool the simmering anger rising within him. "What makes you think I want to hear what you have to say?" "Because it's not just my past you're dealing with," Sam countered, his gaze unwavering. "It's Sarah's too, and she hasn't been entirely truthful with you." Tom's heart clenched. He shot a glance at Sarah. Her face had paled, the color draining as uncertainty etched lines of worry across her brow. Was there more to their story than he knew? The very idea felt like a provocation that threatened to dismantle the fragile scaffolding of trust they had built. "What do you mean?" Tom asked, forcing the words through a throat suddenly tight. "Because if you knew the real story, you'd see that I'm not the villain here," Sam said, leaning forward. "You think this is about me coming back to reclaim some lost love? It's much more complicated than that, and Sarah knows it." Tom's mind raced to process this new angle. Was Sam attempting to manipulate him, or was there a vein of truth in his words? The growing unease in his gut propelled him to maintain control. He felt the reins of their shared narrative slipping through his fingers, an unsettling reminder of how easily one could be sidelined in the face of more alluring narratives. "Sarah, is this true?" Tom demanded, unable to mask the tremor in his voice. Each syllable felt like a hammer driving home the urgency of their reality. Sarah's eyes flitted between the two men, searching for the right words amid the rising tension. "Tom," she said softly, "I wanted to tell you. It's complicated." "Complicated how?" Tom pressed, intensity gripping his tone. His resolve began to sprout doubts, the shadows of inadequacy creeping back into focus. Would Sarah falter before her past? "Before you," she started, trembling slightly. There were things I never mentioned about my time with Sam. Things I thought I'd buried. The admission felt heavy as it hung in the air. At some point, things weren't just innocent, Sarah continued, her voice barely above a whisper. It revolved around family, our family. There are layers, Tom. Things I feared would change how you view me as a mother and a partner. Questions erupted in Tom's mind. How deep did the roots of this shared history go? Had he been living a lie, one where Sarah's past relationships defined more than just a previous chapter? Are you saying our life together isn't what I thought it was? Tom's voice broke, the weight of the moment threatening to crush him. Sarah squeezed his hand, tears shimmering in her eyes. No, it's not like that. You are my life now. But Sam. He's linked to parts of me. Parts one thought I could leave behind. Tom looked at Sam, who had assumed a smug expression, clearly relishing the discord he had instigated. Was this an act of revenge or genuine intention to reveal the truth? Tom sensed that each of Sam's words, painful as they were, struck a nerve that could either fracture or fortify the bonds of his family. As the shadows lengthened across the cafe, Tom felt the surfacing secrets reshaping his perception of everything he thought he knew. The confrontation became a battlefield, not only against Sam but against the fear of vulnerability that had long plagued him. Suddenly, Sam leaned in again, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. What if I told you it goes even deeper than that? What if you're not just dealing with me and your wife but someone far more important? The insinuation hung in the air, a weighted question that spiraled into the depths of Tom's consciousness, igniting a tempest of curiosity and dread. Who else was intertwined in this web of hidden truths? As the answer lurked in the shadows, Tom knew one thing for sure: the time had come to peel back the layers, to dismantle the constructed narratives of his life or risk watching them crumble beneath the truth. What awaited him could either solidify their family or unveil a fracture too deep to heal. The stakes had never felt higher. Tom's thoughts collided in a chaotic whirlwind. Each heartbeat resonated with dread and determination as he processed Sam's cryptic insinuation. What was this new dimension to their lives that had remained concealed? The only certainty was that he couldn't walk away without confronting it. Someone more important? He echoed, struggling to assemble his thoughts into any semblance of clarity. Who, Sam? Who are you talking about? Sam's face twisted into an unsettling grin, satisfaction lighting his dark eyes. You'll have to dig a little deeper for that, Tom. But trust me, the past always catches up. Your family and mine are intertwined in ways you wouldn't expect. The cafe's clatter faded as Tom's focus sharpened. He turned to Sarah, searching her expression for validation or refutation. But her face reflected only fear and regrets. Sarah, what is he talking about? Tears welled in her eyes, betraying a depth of pain that silenced the storm of accusations spinning in Tom's mind. This wasn't a simple miscommunication, it was a breach that threatened to redefine their shared life. Yet, he felt an unsettling curiosity burning alongside his anger. Was it possible that their lives were entangled in a much larger tapestry, one Sam was weaving to provoke Tom? Tom, I didn't. Sarah started to speak, but hesitation gripped her, and her words faltered. Didn't he what? Didn't he have the guts to tell me the truth? The sharpness of his words stung. Was anger the only avenue left to navigate this emotional minefield? No, she whispered, taking a breath that quivered with emotion. I didn't know how to explain the connections, the people involved. I thought it was behind me. That's the problem. Tom's voice rose, startling a nearby couple. You thought it was behind you, but here it is, front and center. I can't just ignore what Sam is saying. Not everything Sam says is truth, she countered, desperation creeping into her tone. There are things you don't understand, things I'm not permitted to share. Not yet. Her invocation of secrecy triggered something in Tom, a creeping sensation of being left out of a critical narrative. Yet, there was fear in her eyes. Was it fear of the truth or fear of how he would react? What do you mean not permitted? He has connections within my family, and if this all comes to light, connections? Tom interrupted, incredulity spilling into his voice. What does that even mean? I deserve to know. A crack appeared in Sarah's calm facade, vulnerability piercing through. Tom, you think you've had a hard life? The things I've faced. I wanted to protect you, us. Protect us from what? The truth? His anger felt like a protection of its own, a shield against the inevitable collapse of their carefully crafted lives. But deep down, beneath the roiling tempest of emotions, he felt a thread of resolve tighten. It ran back to the core of who he was, someone who could confront challenges, delve into complexities, and emerge stronger. Breathless, he leaned back in his chair, absorbing the barrage of revelations. Was this a trial meant to unravel him or shape his understanding of who he could be? Sarah reached out, her fingers trembling as they grazed his arm, grounding him in the chaos. I promise you, every detail will be laid bare soon. But right now, I need you to trust me. Just a little longer. Trust. The word felt both burdensome and freeing, a chasm he teetered on the edge of. Did he want to blindly trust her again? Or was this the moment he wielded his power to uncover whatever lay beneath the surface? In that moment of uncertainty, Sam's silhouette loomed in the corner of his vision. A reminder that this conversation would only deepen, with shadows lurking where light struggled to seep through. The stakes were set. Tom's next move would either dismantle their family or bind them all in shared truths. With resolve gathering in his chest, he realized he had to make a choice that could catalyze their evolution, but where to begin? What if I asked you both, Tom said slowly, measuring each word, to delve into this together? I want to face whatever it is head on. We all deserve to know. As the tension thickened in the air, another echo of Sam's earlier revelation flickered in Tom's mind. What were the real stakes hidden behind familial ties and veiled connections? The conversation had shifted from interrogation to a proposal for unity, a tentative bridge spanning the chasm of secrets. But whether that bridge would hold under the weight of unspoken truths loomed over them like a storm on the horizon. Would they rise together or risk falling apart when the truth emerged? The silence in the cafe deepened, pregnant with the promise of tumultuous revelations yet to come. Tom's gaze shifted between Sam and Sarah, each second stretching into a moment of palpable tension. The cafe, once a bustling haven, felt stifling, every sound amplifying the growing silence that enveloped them. Sam leaned back, arms crossed, the devilish grin still haunting his features, as if he reveled in the turmoil he de-orchestrated. Okay, Tom, Sam said, an unsettling calm in his voice. Let us see what you're really made of. You want to dig? Let us dig. His challenge hung in the air, daring Tom to unravel the threads of connection binding their lives. Tom's heart thundered, igniting a fierce determination within him. Secrets thrived in darkness, and if they were to emerge, they would need light and investigation of their pasts that neither he nor Sarah had dared to confront. Tell me everything, Tom demanded, his voice steady despite the tempest within him. His gaze sharpened on Sarah, her eyes dark with uncertainty. You say there are things you can't share. Why? What is stopping you? She hesitated, her fingers nervously tracing the rim of her coffee cup. It's complicated. Complicated. The single word pricked at the edges of Tom's resolve. How often had complications kept them from facing reality? How often had they allowed shadows to rule their lives? Complicated doesn't mean impossible, Tom countered, his tone unwavering. Tell me the truth, Sarah. We need to confront whatever this is together. Tom, she whispered, her voice trembling. It's not just my truth. There are others involved, others who can get hurt. Unseen stakes loomed over them, a specter of outside influences that Tom couldn't ignore. The thought triggered a sharp wave of emotions, protectiveness, but also a sense of frustration. We're already hurt. You think keeping secrets will protect us? It's tearing us apart. Sam interjected, his enthusiasm palpable. Yes, right. You both are already knee-deep in this mess. A family entangled in secrets is a family on shaky ground. Trust me, I know about family complications. The tension escalated, words grappling for their meanings as Tom's resolve crystallized into a solid plan. Then let us explore those complications together. He turned to Sarah, meeting her gaze with fierce determination. I want to support you, but I need to understand what's at stake. If there's a family connection with Sam, it's essential we unveil that. What really binds us? Are you sure you're ready for this? Sarah asked, a flicker of doubt hidden beneath her resolve. Whatever the truth is, it's better than this uncertainty. Either we confront it now, or we let it fester until it consumes us. He paused, allowing the weight of his words to sink in. No more secrets. We're in this together. Silence enveloped them again, thick with unresolved emotion. Sarah's expression tightened as the momentary hope flickered in her eyes, battling against her fears. Slowly, she nodded, the small gesture igniting a spark of determination within Tom. They had both allowed uncertainties to rule too long. As they settled back into their seats, Tom felt a weight shift within him. He was tired of being a passive observer in this family drama. It was time to engage actively and reclaim their narrative. Let us start from the beginning. We'll trace our connections, piece by piece, until we uncover what's hidden. Having asserted himself, he felt the flickers of doubt begin to dissipate the notion that he could be a catalyst for change. Fighting the rising urge of despair, Tom felt adrenaline surge. We begin with one question. Sam, what do you know that we don't? Sam leaned forward, the glimmer of intrigue in his eyes sharpening. Ah, now you're speaking my language. But here's the kicker, are you ready for the truth? It's one thing to ask, it's another to handle what comes next. Tom's heart raced again, the tension transforming into a thrill of impending revelation. Beneath them, the cafe hummed with life, oblivious to the storm brewing at their small table. Let us find out, Tom replied, voice firm. What lay ahead was more than just a family secret, it was an opportunity to discover who he was as a husband, a partner, and a father, yet the uncertainty of what lurked beyond began to seep back in. What haven tea you told me, Sarah? With that question hanging heavy in the air, the path ahead twisted into a maze of intricacies, one that held possibilities for transformation, but also the shadow of devastation that demanded their full attention. The stakes had never felt higher, and the truth was a specter ready to be unleashed. As Tom watched fear flicker in Sarah's eyes again, he felt a brewing storm within himself. Was he prepared to plunge into the depths of their entangled lives? One truth remained clear: this was just the beginning, and the unraveling of secrets would change everything. The air thickened with expectancy as Sam leaned forward, his eyes glinting with an unsettling mix of mischief and anticipation. All right, let us take a stroll down memory lane, he said, his voice rich with a cadence that suggested he was all too ready to divulge the secrets that lay among them. Tom clenched his fists beneath the table, battling the urge to flip the script and regain control of the narrative. It was as if Sam had turned the spotlight onto him, forcing him to confront not just the secrets shared at the table, but those hidden deep within himself. But he would not be deterred. This was about more than just knowledge, it was about clarity, identity, and the path forward. Tell me what you know, Tom urged, drawing a breath to anchor himself against the tension of the moment. The stakes were high, yet he felt an inkling of growth bubbling beneath the surface, a realization that this confrontation could redefine not just their family ties, but also reaffirm his role as a husband and father. About 2 years ago, Sam began, voice deliberately slow, there was a family event, one that wasn't discussed in public forums or mentioned in passing. It involved the Fowlers. The name struck Tom like a bolt of lightning. The Fowlers had been a shadowy presence in discussions with Sarah, a puzzle piece he couldn't fit. What connection do they have to us? He demanded, unnerved by the sudden swirl of context drowning him. Sam grinned, reveling in the impact of his words. Sarah's uncle, the one you've never met, had quite a reputation. Some say it's why she never talked about him. The family sense was that his name carried a weight that had caused rifts amongst those closest to him. Tom's mind raced, piecing together the implications. If Sarah had ties to an uncle she shunned, what truths were lurking underneath their day-to-day existence? Gritting his teeth, he turned to Sarah, who was now visibly pale, clutching her cup as if it were a lifeline. "There's more," Sam continued, sensing the rising tension between Tom and Sarah. "Remember that trip we cancelled last year? She was supposed to go meet him, and for some reason, she didn't tell you. That decision was pivotal. It connected her deeper to this chaos." Tom's heart sank. He recalled those confusing days of cancellation, his wife hiding behind excuses that never completely rang true. Had he truly been so blind? "Why wouldn't you share this with me?" he asked Sarah, his voice tinged with a hurt he hadn't anticipated. "What could be so damaging that you felt hiding it was the better option?" The silence stretched painfully, a chasm formed not just of secrets but of misunderstandings that had marred their relationship for too long. Sarah's gaze flickered, a storm of emotions playing across her features. "Because I thought it would protect us," she finally whispered, her voice strained. "Protect us?" Tom echoed, incredulity lacing his words. How was this ever going to protect anything? These lies, this silence only serves to fracture us more. Each word felt like a sharpened knife that a myriad of thoughts fought for dominance in Tom's mind. Was he truly prepared to face the rabbit hole Sam had hinted at? Confronting Sarah's past, navigating the family ties that threatened their peace, and finding the truth all seemed like a daunting expedition. Yet, as he forged this emotional battlefield, the realization dawned on him that clarity was necessary for real healing. "Sam," he turned back, honing in on his opponent now that they shared a common ground. "You knew about this, didn't you? You've played us both. Tell me, what else don't I know?" The cafe remained indifferent to his turmoil, contrasting sharply against the emotional maelstrom roiling within him. Tom's resolve solidified. He would not allow himself to be a passive character in this narrative any longer. Clenching his jaw, he braced himself to confront whatever lay ahead, like a soldier readying for battle, and as he eyed Sam, who wore a mask of feigned innocence that only intensified Tom's suspicion, one thought echoed violently in his mind. The real question loomed larger than all else: would unveiling these hidden truths lead to liberation or deeper entanglement? In that moment, the atmosphere shifted, charged with an electric urgency. "We're going to untangle this mess," Tom asserted, the determination surging within him, a promise not just to confront the harm but also to reclaim his truth, his narrative. But as Sam raised an eyebrow, Tom sensed a veiled threat behind the mirth. With what remained to be uncovered, a foreboding question slinked between them: what would happen when the ties that bind truly began to unravel? Tom's heart raced, each beat drumming a melody of anxiety and resolve. The cafe began to fade into the background, its clattering dishes and murmured conversations morphing into a distant hum. All that remained was the electric tension dancing between him, Sam, and Sarah. He felt the weight of their shared history pressing heavily upon him, suffocating yet exhilarating. Within this moment of confrontation lay the potential for liberation. "Sam, if there's more to this story, you need to share it now," Tom declared, his voice steadier than the chaos within him. He watched Sam closely, searching for any sign of hesitation, any hint that the man he had once considered a friend might just be aiming to deepen the rift that had begun to crack between him and Sarah. Sam leaned back, crossing his arms with an air of calculated nonchalance. "You think you can handle the truth?" he countered, a smirk playing at the corners of his lips. That smirk ignited a fire within Tom. He wasn't merely seeking truth, he was poised for battle. "Start talking." "I want to ask again," Tom asserted, channeling anxiety into a palpable force. Behind him, Sarah shifted slightly, her expression a mix of fear and determination. The swirling chaos in her eyes indicated that she, too, recognized the proverbial line in the sand. It was time to confront the shadows. "All right," Sam relented, an edge of amusement threading his voice. Sarah's uncle isn't just a name. He was a player in some dangerous games: money, betrayal, and even violence. It's why your wife has kept him at arm's length." The words crashed against Tom like icy waves, chilling his insides. What do you mean dangerous games? The question slipped from his lips before he could filter it, the urgency clear. She inherited something from him, Sam replied, a twisted glee setting his features alight. Money, yes, but it's tangled in a mess, a legacy of threats and obligations that would change everything for your family. Tom's world began to crystallize, the layers peeling back, revealing a roiling chaos beneath. Was Sarah ensnared in a web of legacy? How had he been oblivious to this looming shadow? The concept of a hidden inheritance transformed into a daunting possibility, one that could either be a blessing or an even greater curse. Why wouldn't you tell me? Tom breathed, turning to Sarah, seeking understanding and confirmation in the depths of her gaze. Could this secret be the root of their troubles? The threads of her silence began to weave a pattern he almost dared to grasp. I thought it was all behind me, she confessed, her voice trembling with the weight of her own revelation. That keeping you safe meant keeping you in the dark. So you chose to isolate yourself instead? You thought I couldn't handle it? Tom could hear the hurt in his own voice, echoing off the walls that had held them apart for too long. I wanted to protect you, we both did. Sarah pleaded, tears glistening in her eyes. Sam chuckled, a sound sharp and derisive. Protecting isn't the same as deceiving. You've been lying to him, and now it's about to catch up with both of you. Tom processed their turmoil, confronting not just the chaos surrounding him, but the chaos within himself. Every instinct screamed at him to flee, to shut down, yet the knowledge he sought felt like a lifeline. Understanding was the only path forward. Let us lay everything on the table, Tom said, the resolve crystallizing into something he hadn't anticipated. No more secrets. It's time for all of us to face the past. Together. The invitation hung in the air, heavy with tension and anticipation. Would they emerge bonded, or would their revelations further fracture what little unity remained? Tom's breath hitched in his throat. It was a gamble, yet one worth taking. But as he prepared for their next move, he felt a deep instinct stirring. There were still layers unpeeled, and Sam's seemingly endless repository of secrets couldn't be contained forever. Was this confrontation just the beginning? Would the truth reveal more than they bargained for? Tom's mind swirled with the uncertainty of what lay ahead. The real question lingered ominously: what other hidden truths might surface, and how would they reshape their fragile narrative? Tom's heart beat a steady rhythm, pulsing with adrenaline as he faced Sarah and Sam, the weight of their secrets hanging thick in the air. He felt a transformative surge of resolve coursing through him. A realization had taken root: honesty was the only way forward. Tell me everything, Tom demanded, piercing through the anxious silence as his voice steadied with conviction. The words reverberated around the cafe, signaling a shift not just in conversation, but in his role as a partner and father. This confrontation would become the crucible that fused their fractured fictional world into a reality fortified by truth. Sam leaned back, his expression a mix of amusement and anticipation, clearly reveling in the tension he stirred. Sarah's uncle isn't just some ghost from the past, he is a significant player in a dangerous game. The money tied to him isn't just inherited wealth, it's a burden. Tom's pulse quickened, he felt the ground beneath him shift. The words painted a perilous picture of what his family had been entangled in. He turned to Sarah, searching for signs of betrayal or a thread of defense. What did you inherit that's still shadowing our lives? He pressed, his determination igniting a fierce courage within him. Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes. She was a woman caught in the entanglements of her past, fighting to preserve the family life they had built in the present. I didn't want it to affect us. I thought I could leave it all behind, she said, her voice trembling with vulnerability. But the truth is, I never really severed the ties. Tom's frustration simmered as he absorbed her admission. But why couldn't you tell me? You were waiting for the right time. There is no right time for secrets. We're supposed to be a team, he replied, each syllable coaxing a layer of his anger away, unlocking a path toward understanding and resolution. It could put you in danger, Sarah choked out, her confession echoing a fear that had been dormant too long. The admission struck Tom like a lightning bolt. Her absence of trust was tainted not by doubts of their love, but by a misguided sense of protection. Awareness flickered within him, illuminating both her intention and the gaps in their relationship. "Those bind us, those familial connections," Tom replied slowly, the tension in his voice transforming from anger to an intense sense of purpose. "It's time we own our narrative. We'll face whatever danger lies ahead together." As he spoke, Tom felt an unfamiliar yet exhilarating confidence swell within. No longer was he a passive participant in his family's drama, a hand tied by uncertainties and past insecurities. He was reclaiming his narrative, a necessary first step towards forging a future defined by transparency. Their journey was about to test the very core of their love. "All right, then, let us learn to face this together," Tom asserted, looking at Sarah, then to Sam. "But you, Sam, your role in this past must be uncovered. What do you truly want?" Sam's smirk faded, replaced with a piercing intensity as the stakes of the conversation crystallized. "I want the truth too, Tom. You deserve that much." The unexpected revival of seriousness in Sam's tone offered Tom a fleeting hope. Perhaps they could delve into this chaos with shared intent. "Then we'll speak plainly," Tom responded, locking eyes with both. "Let us unearth what lies beneath. Whatever it is, we face it together, or not at all." The newfound foundation strengthened his conviction. Here, amidst potential ruin, they could cultivate resilience. Their family's legacy could pivot from the hidden to the revealed. "Let us start with your uncle, Sarah. You said you thought you had escaped him. Why has he reappeared now?" Tom's questions flowed with urgency, setting the stage for digging deeper into this tangled web. Sarah hesitated, but the determination in Tom's eyes prompted her to begin recounting stories, slowly connecting the fragments of her inherited struggles while navigating tales of loss, longing, and generational burdens that haunted her family. With each detail unveiled, Tom felt his heart grow lighter, a burden lifted by the act of acknowledgement. They weren't just unearthing secrets, they were revealing the depth of their lives. The dark shapes cast by previous waves of uncertainty began to dissolve in the light of comprehension. As the afternoon sun dimmed, casting shadows throughout the cafe, an undeniable bond strengthened within their family. Tom's spirit soared amid the revelations. He was no longer a mere observer. He was crafting a new narrative, one founded on trust, openness, and authenticity. By confronting the skeletons of Sarah's past together, Tom had not only unearthed essential truths, he had reshaped his understanding of love, loyalty, and commitment in its truest form. Ultimately, they stood lighter, a family ready to face the future. And as they spoke their fears and desires into existence, they forged a resilient unity that could weather any storm. Tom found solid confidence and outer recognition in his role. They were on the cusp of a new life, built on authenticity and strength that would echo through the generations. Now, dear viewers, this powerful transformation is something you need to take part in. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories that empower individuals. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support our content. Don't forget to comment your reactions and theories about this intense conclusion. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to experience this monumental shift in personal growth. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share and help us cultivate a community rich in perseverance and transformation.